talking at an anti-arms trade event, and I've stepped off the stage, and the police officer come up to me and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Thomas, it's a stop and search." And I said, "Okay, what is your reason for stopping and searching me? Because you have to have a reason." And he said, "I believe you've got equipment about your person with which to commit criminal damage." And then searches my wallet for the origami equipment that I have carefully folded. And I was very cross. I phoned up some lawyer mates, because I know lots of lawyers, and everyone should know lawyers. You just should, yeah, and they'll take turns helping. And I phoned up and said, "I'm being stopped. What should I do? What should I do?" And he said, "Get the chit," because at that time they had to fill in a chit explaining why they stop and search you. I said, "What do you say?" "Get the chit." On my chit, this is what it said: reason for stop and search. The officer had written underneath, "Mr. Thomas appeared overconfident." How does that figure with criminal behaviour? There he is, he's a terrorist. How do you know he's got a jaunty demeanour? He's wearing carpet slippers and a dressing gown this time of afternoon. So, you know, and so I said to my line mate, "What do we do? What do we do?" And I said, "This is outrageous." And he said, "What we must do is we must challenge the police." Now, as you know, in time-honoured British tradition, the police thoroughly investigate themselves and found themselves to be innocent. So I thought, right, let's go. So what do we do next? And my lawyer says, "What we do?" He said, "What we do is that we put a complaint into the Independent Police Complaints Commission." Now, the Independent Police Complaints Commission is the biggest oxymoron after GB News, which is the biggest oxymoron since ambient bagpipe. So, to our shock and horror, the Independent Police Complaints Commission write back and say, "We agree it was an unlawful stop and search. They didn't seem to know the limits of their power. They did not know the extent of the law. It was an unlawful stop and search. They have broken the law." And I was like, we've won, this is amazing, this is great. And my lawyer was, "No! We must do more." I said, "What do we do?" "We sue the police." I said, "What for?" He said, "Money!" And admission of liability. And so I won 1,500 quid off the Metropolitan Police. And I used the money to go and do this walk, to help fund a walk I did along the Israeli wall in the West Bank. And so I walked the entire length. And if you look back, if you can look online, you can see the old posters. And it's got "Walking the Wall," which is the name of the show. Massive letters, "Walking the Wall." And right at the bottom, it's got "Financially assisted by the Metropolitan Police." So I recommend that you be as playful as possible in all the ways that you can. Now, we obviously know, look, we're here because, actually, this is the weird thing. If we make too much noise, if we scream and shout, we can be arrested under the anti-protest laws, right? If we disrupt someone, if we upset someone, I don't know, we challenge them. There is no God or anything, do you know, I don't know, anything that will cause them upset, that we could get arrested. If we disrupt business and people's work, we could get arrested. So I think Dominic Raab has got off lightly. Just by having to resign. The point about the anti-protest laws, I suppose, is this, right? We all know the first thing, like the Tories have got to go. That's the first thing, because climate justice and social justice go hand in hand. There is no such thing, one without the other. There's simply, that's how it works, right? You can't actually stop the planet burning if people are still fighting to feed their children, right? Right, that's the way it works. We need social justice. So all the Tories need to go. Make no bones about it. I want them to lose so badly that they lose their deposits. That's just a personal thing. I want them to lose so badly that every single returning officer at the electoral count starts the Tory numbers with the words "ouch." I want them to lose so badly. I want Count Binface to beat them. I want them to turn. I want Monster Raving Loony Party to turn down an offer of a merger. I want them beaten so badly that the only time you hear Kwasi Kwarteng is when it's used as a safe word. I want them beaten. I want them. In fact, I want all Tories to forcibly undergo compulsory conversion therapy at the hands of trans teenagers. That's what I want. That is what I want. I want a whole load of trans teenagers just shouting at Tories going, "There's no such thing as a biological conservative." And also, why are we allowing Tories into our toilets? Keep them out, protect our safe spaces. This is the point. Right? The Tories have got to go, like, we all know the Tories are just corrupt, evil, nepotistic, vile, greedy, money-grabbing, evil. You know, they are basically the devil incarnate made in small form. And this is the thing about them. This is the thing. Like Johnson, I thought we were rid of Johnson. I thought we were fucking rid of him because I just thought, what, no, you've done your stuff. But he keeps popping up. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I could be coming back. He actually thinks he's Churchill. He thinks he's going to get elected back in. If Churchill ever met Boris Johnson, he'd shoot him dead. Mainly for being Turkish. He was quite the racist. Was Churchill. But then you see him crop up because I'm going to put my father into the House of Lords because, you know, it's cheaper than a care home. You just, this is insanity. He just won't go away. He's like some weird form of leech herpes. And you just, I'm not sure where that thought came from. But the point being is these people are, they're just, at the very least, the only thing I can say in favour of Johnson, right, is very, very simply that at least when somebody asked him a question he didn't know the answer to, he would make noises. You know, those kind of upper class. Peppa Pig. Right? At least, like Liz Truss, she just stops. Like she's buffering. And you think, what the fuck is going on? Someone asks her a question, you expect to see a little whirling disc in front of her. Kevin Bacon lift her up, try and look at what Liz Truss did. Right? In her first, she had 49 days, right? First thing she did, kill the Queen, right? That was the first thing, which because basically Elizabeth Windsor walked in the room and said, what, I've got to meet you every week? No, I'm cashing the check. So, and look, I know, look, the thing is, I am sensitive about this. I thought when Elizabeth Windsor ceased to breathe, I thought, okay, Mark, just respect the fact that some people like her. You don't have to respect the monarchy. You don't have to respect the feudalism and inequality from whence it sprang to respect the fact. You're quite right. You don't have to like the slavery which funded it with the Royal Africa Corporation or Company, which was one of the first that chartered slave traders. That's what it did, right? And in fact, the elephant and castle was the logo of the Royal Africa Company. So elephant and castle, that's where it comes from. Right? And you're quite right to say that. I don't have to respect any of that to respect the fact that some people loved Elizabeth Windsor, and that's fine. That's what I thought on day one. Day two, how much fucking longer is this going? Day three, you've got to be kidding. Day four, if she was Jewish or Muslim, she'd be in the ground. Day five, I'm like, Celtic. Day six, I'm like, oh, just fly tip her. Just dump her up a country lane. Day seven, like, mate, she's dead, and you're giving her a fucking tour of the country. You're driving her up and down the motorway, and you're filming everything like she's some DHL parcel tracker. What, are you frightened that no one's going to be to sign for it? You'll have to leave the coffin behind the bin. I feel much better now. I do feel much better now. But the point being, I know some people say, but Mark, you can't. Oh, fuck off. Is my studied response. Now, but what was, oh yes, Liz Truss, this is the thing, she crashed the economy. This is about justice, this is what we need, right? This is what we need. She crashes the economy. Kwarteng does his budget, right? And then, boom, off it goes. Inflation is going through the roof anyway. This is fueled, pump prime, so you're getting stagflation now. You've got the mortgage rates freezing. You've got government bonds suddenly needing rescuing, pensions needing propping up. The governor of the Bank of England had to turn into a proper East End governor and just go, right, you got to fucking stop it, Liz. Right? You had the IMF, which did a report calling her a twat, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, and Putin was going, you cannot trust her, you don't know what she will do next. She is unhinged. So you have, and it cost us 38 billion. 38 billion is what it cost us. That's 38 billion that could be put into a fair green transition. That's 38 billion that could feed people who are literally starving. That's 38 billion that we can put to good use. Right? So trust goes, you get Sunak, who, you know, he's not quite here, to be honest, is he? He's offshore, I think. It's remarkable. You've got a man who's richer than the royal family administering these changes and introducing austerity too. So you've actually got, like, this is how the Tories do. It's just remarkable. What's his name? Naheem Zahawi was being investigated by HMRC while he's in charge of the Treasury. You've got Johnson going to be the saviour of Ukraine while being funded by Russian oligarchs. Suella Braverman has got a side business selling dinghies in Calais. I don't know if you know that. No, I made it up. It was just for comic relief. But I understand that it is plausible. I do understand it. Right. Can I say that is the best heckle I've had? So that is fun. I love you. I feel like we need to do some kind of group counselling for you. They have. Suella has got Rwanda. You're absolutely right. You're lovely because you're like a little Blue Peter heckler. You've got to put forward, and that's just great. And we've got the early learning steps there. But the point being is, you're right. Rwanda. Do you know how much it's cost us? The government has paid the government of Rwanda just to run the scheme, just to run it. 120 million, just to run it. Just to run it. Right? Do you know how many people, immigrants, asylum seekers, refugees, the Rwanda government have said they would take for 120 million? 200. Do you know what that works out? That's £600,000 per asylum seeker. £600,000. This is a publicity stunt. It's got nothing to do with actual kind of economics. It's got nothing to do with securing the nation. And yet part of me can't help thinking, fair play Rwanda. If I was the Rwandan government, I'd get all the asylum seekers and go, come on everyone, here we go, round up, right, here's a ticket to Paris and a dinghy, let's run it one more time. That's what I would do. And all these people who go, the Tories are just fucking nasty bastards picking culture. There's too many migrants. No, there's not enough migrants. There's not enough migrants. And I don't say this from the point of view of someone going, well, we need more migrants to work in the fields, because, you know, getting people of colour to work in the fields isn't a good look for liberals. Perhaps you'd like them to sing spirituals while they do it. However, I know some of you are debating that. The point being is, we need more migrants into this country just to level up the gene pool of everyone who said we've got too many. Right, that's what we need. And so we've got all of it. We've got this incredible sort of inequality. And the thing about it is this: is after any Tory budget, right, you get kind of, you know, the analysis of the BBC go, well, the cost of a pint, you know, and then the Daily Mail does its hurrah for the black shirts and marvellous. There's a Tory budget. This time round, they started talking about the squeezed middle. The squeezed middle. Comrade middle class, welcome to the revolution. The middle class are part of the revolution. God bless each and every fucking one of you. I will see you outside Waitrose shouting, see you down at Lidl. I will see you. That Middle Island Lidl is going to be fantastic. Darling, look, I found a welding kit. Oh, how remarkable. I found some Ann Summers underwear and some rat poison. Brilliant. So, but the point being, the middle class are all part of the revolution. This is the point about it, right? Middle class, someone needs to do the catering. It's very important. And the middle class, it's all of us against the 1%. That's what it boils down to. All of us against the 1%. Our enemy isn't the small differences, it's between those in power. Right? It's all of us against the 1%, and that's how it works. Some people, like teachers or lecturers or whatever, some people are the middle class just because of the nature of the jobs, the nature of the proximity of their work to the functions of the state. The wage is working class. It's all of us. It's all of us against the 1%, and that's how it works. If you want to find differences between, we can. You know, I think the biggest, most obvious difference between middle class and working class is footwear. That's how it emerges. I'm just reporting, I'm not judging, all right? This is how it works. If you've got more brown shoes than black, you're middle class. It's just how it works. It's just how it works. If you wear Wellingtons for leisure wear, you're middle class. It's just how it works. All right, that's just how it works. Deck shoes at any time, twat. That's just... That's, you know, because so it's all of us against the person with the yacht, okay? So look, so first of all, we've got to get rid of the Tories because all of them are just corrupt, evil bastards, and they're just nasty people. And the system is failing, it's utterly failing in every single point. And by the way, Keir Starmer fans, let me hear you say, he's the biggest disappointment since vegan cheese. He is just fucking rubbish.
Vegan cheese is getting better though.
No, vegan cheese tastes. Well, hang on a second. Let's not examine that. The point being is, that's what I don't want. I want. Some people go, but Mark, he's got to win over the Daily Mail. I don't want to vote for someone who wants to be friends with the Daily Mail. I want someone who's going to put the fucking publishers in jail and make them pay tax. The only person I'll consider as leader of the Labour Party now is Kathy Burke. That's what I mean. But it always starts with us. That's the point about it. It always starts with us. I was talking to my mum, right, is 87. I'm part-time carer. I have to go afterwards and cook for her. And she's the most curmudgeonly, ungrateful. I love her dearly. Pardon? I think I take after her, but let's not let genealogy get in the way. But the point being is, I don't think I'm curmudgeon. My mum said, I know where you're going today. I said, well, I'm going to see. She goes, I know where you're going today. And she genuinely does speak. She said, I know where you're going today. She said, you're going to stop Mo Farah running. I know. Mum, it was only 6 months ago that you were moaning that he was in the country. Come on, let's be fair about this. And also, I wouldn't encourage people to stop the marathon. What I would encourage is on the last 100 metres to jump in, dressed as Mo Farah, and sprint like fuck. No, there's lots of people twitching, going, no, not Just Stop Oil. I like Just Stop Oil. I do like them because when we're in a crisis, someone needs to run around like a headless chicken, and that is meant with all sincerity. It genuinely is. Some things you approve of, some things you don't, but that's all right. We keep it amongst comrades, that's fine. So, where were we? Oh yes. So, we are heading in there in about 5 minutes to begin the mass takeover. It's always up to people to change things, right? That's the point. We make the change. There is not one single progressive law in this country that didn't start as a popular movement, that didn't start with people, grassroots people taking action. So I'm going to go in a minute and make my mum's tea, but what I wanted to say was thank you, because this is an incredibly important movement. We have to have climate justice and social justice working together. I've said it before, I'll say it again. One without the other doesn't work. You can't rely on billionaires to come up with carbon capture ideas and we're all going to be saved. You can't rely on an electric car when the owner of it is firing fucking rockets into space. You can't be having it. It's up to us to make the change. Thank you for coming. Have a brilliant weekend.